Hey guys, Ricochet here, and in this video I'm going to be delivering what I hope is a comprehensive beginner's guide to the First Descendant. Now, before we get started, you should know that this game is grind heavy. Even if you put money into it, there are still things you will have to grind for. You don't have to put money into the game, everything is attainable for free, but it's down to RNG whether you get it first time or on the 30th attempt. So with that said, let's get into the guide, and we'll start with your choice of descendant at the start of the campaign, and you will have 3 to choose from. Now, we have Viessa, who is a cold damage or sort of frost mage, crowd controller. We have Lepic, who is your fire damage DPSer. And then finally there is Ajax, who is your void tank. Now, which descendant you choose depends on your playstyle, and there really isn't a right or wrong choice. Early on in the campaign, as you're going through, you will also unlock another descendant, and that will be Bunny. Now, Bunny is the poster girl for the First Descendant, and she is an electric speed nukester who deals big AoE damage. Now, I did say that this game is a heavy grind, and you will have to do a lot of farming for essential items and materials that will make your descendant stronger, unlock the best weapons, and other descendants. And to be honest, Bunny is by far the best character to help make this process easier. So the game gives you 2 descendants for free, but what if you want to put money into the game? Well, there are currently 16 normal descendants, which will cost you between £8 and £16 or $11 and $21. And there are 6 ultimate descendants, which will cost you between £58 and £80 or $76 and $105, depending on which bundle you decide to buy. So, what's the difference between normal and ultimate descendants? Well, I will get into that in a short while so that you have a better understanding of what I will tell you is the difference between the two. So, once you've made your descendant choice, do you need to worry about unlocking other descendants? Well, yes, you absolutely want to unlock other descendants. And there are missions in the endgame content that can only be done by descendants that deal a certain type of damage. There's going to be infiltrations, and there are also going to be encrypted vaults. Now, I'll just illustrate quickly what I mean by that. So, take a look at the map, and I've currently got it in hard mode, so this is showing you the endgame content. And if we go to one of these missions here, there you go, you will see it's a void fragment mission, and it can only be done by a fire type, destructible only by skill, which is fire. Now, if you don't match that skill type and you have a friend, say, so you're playing Bunny and you have a friend that's playing Lepic, who is the fire damage DPSer, then you'll both be able to get the main rewards, but Bunny will not be able to get the additional rewards because she doesn't match the skill attributes. So everybody in the group will have to be of the fire damage type to get all of the rewards on offer. There are also outpost missions. Now, these outpost missions can be done normally, and you'll have a main reward, and you will be able to get all of those rewards if you do it normally. Now, you will need Sharon and her stealth tech if you want to do the infiltration, and you will get additional rewards for doing the successful infiltration. Now, I say you will get, obviously, RNG, and you can see there that there is a 5 to 25% chance of actually acquiring that particular reward, and a 0.5 to 3.5% chance of getting the shape stabilizer. But using Sharon is the only way to get those rewards. Now, there may be other players that are using Sharon and you can rely on those other players, and that's absolutely fine. You can do that. But if you are playing solo, then you will need Sharon yourself to be able to successfully do this and get those rewards. Now, those amorphous materials are connected to certain other rewards that you will need to get to unlock weapons or blueprints for other descendants, etc. So they are kind of essential, and you are kind of tied to doing that. And there is also materials that you will need from vaults. Now, let's go to this particular material here, and you will see that encrypted storage box. There are also encrypted vaults here. Now, some of them have Enzo Descendant required, and Enzo makes getting these rewards far easier. There's like a mini game that you have to do, and having Enzo slows that mini game down and pretty much gives you a much better chance of successfully getting this material, and that material is really quite essential for getting crystallization catalysts and other rewards that are essential to increasing the power of your descendant. And again, we will get into that a bit later. Okay, so you've picked your first descendant and you're going through the campaign. You're going to start to pick up equipment, weapons, etc., modules. You're going to want to know what to do with them. So let's take a look at the character inventory. So, very quickly, max level is 40 for your descendant. We have our mastery rank here. We'll come back to that in a minute because that is reasonably important. But I'll go through some other stuff first, and then you'll understand more what I'm talking about. We have our weapons, reactor, and external components. Now, your weapons and your descendant all have base stats, which they very kindly provide here. And just a couple of things to say about weapons. Each weapon type has a particular ammo type, so you'll have general rounds, you'll have impact rounds, you will have high power rounds and special rounds. Now, if you're running weapons of the same ammo type, then they share the same ammo pool. So if, say for instance, you can carry 300 general ammo rounds, you're going to be sharing that between the two weapons. So that is just something to be aware of while you're playing through the game. It isn't a huge problem for the most part, but there are some instances where it can be. I've found that in certain areas like bossing, that to be a bit of a problem at times, but not major. So it's not something you overly worry about. And Nexon have said that they will address the amount of ammo that is dropping. So again, you know, it's just something to be aware of. Now, your weapons and your descendants will have modules. Now, we're going to go through this very briefly because obviously this is a beginner's guide and I don't want to, you know, fill your head with stuff that you don't really need to know at this point. The most important thing to really note about your modules is you're going to want something that increases your firearm attack for firearms to make them more powerful. If you want to put on something like this that increases your the amount of rounds that you can have in your magazine, crit hit rate, crit hit damage, etc., then obviously you can do that. If it's something that you don't want to mess with just now, you can use this handy little tool here, which is equip recommended module, and it will equip what the game thinks is recommended for that particular weapon at that particular time, depending on what you've got in your inventory. However, you are going to want something that's a bit more personalized as you get into the later game. Descendants, slightly different, but you know, it's the same principle at the end of the day. And we're going to look at, you know, your base modules for starting out in the game. You are going to want to concentrate on something that increases your skill power and things that increase your defense. They are really what is important in the beginning of the game. Okay, so as soon as you can start enhancing your mods, you want to concentrate on HP and defense because it will get you through the game. It will make you a lot more tanky and you'll be able to take a lot more damage. Obviously, you want to also concentrate on something that will help you deal more damage with your skills. So that's important. As you get later into the game, you are going to start using these two. Now, this particular one here with the orange glow at the bottom is your sub module. Now, I think you get these relatively early on, so I might have misspoken there. But anyway, these actually cost you nothing. So you'll see on the top right here, you have module capacity. So whatever your Descendant starts with, that is the maximum amount of points or value of each module that you can have equipped at any one time. The game just won't let you go over that. But these are essentially free. So you can level these up to the max level and you will get a level for every level that you enhance the module. Up to a maximum of 10. So it increases your capacity by 10. So essentially it makes it free. So that's just a handy thing to know. So it won't affect your choice. You can put whatever you want in there. I have long distance maneuvering. It just helps my the distance that I can travel with my grapple, for instance. You will eventually get a transcendent module that you can put in here. That is denoted by the green glow. Again, we can have a look there. It's a skill module. And basically, these are exclusive to that particular Descendant. Now, these are kind of for later game. And by the time you get to this one in particular, your capacity will have gone up considerably. But in the initial, survivability and skill power are the most important things. So let's quickly go over the reactors before I get into the mastery rank. Now, reactors, again, if you're dealing a particular type of skill damage, you are going to want a particular type of reactor. It's no good putting on an electric reactor for a chill specialist. You're going to want a frozen one. And it's the same with, say, toxic for Freyna, a burning one for Lepic. They all have their particular uses and apply to those particular characters. If I was to put this on, then my skill power would drop massively. Also, on your reactors, you have a weapon class which will optimize that particular reactor. So at the moment, I have a submachine gun equipped, which will give me a full 140% skill power. Your ultimate reactors have ultimate weapons attached to them. So, for instance, this one has the Thunder Cage, which is an ultimate SMG, which is the one that I'm using at the moment, and that will obviously give me 160% skill power. External components. Now, external components, you're going to want things on that give you max HP and defense. They are really the two most important. Shield really doesn't do a lot, if I'm being brutally honest. I don't know whether that's something that they need to work on, but I really would concentrate on defense and HP if I was you for these particular things. Now mine, you'll see, are a set piece, which you will get later in the game. Early game ones look more like this. So HP support, defense support, processor, etc. And they, like I said, they're things that you'll use to increase your HP and defense. This for your skill, and you will be good to go. Mastery rank. So, what's important about mastery? Well, mastery ranks will increase your Descendant modules, your weapon modules, equipment inventory, storage slot, consumable inventory, and your shape stabilizer inventory limit. So, with each sort of rank you go up, once you get up to rank 4, you will increase your slots to 9 and your capacity to 34, and so on and so forth until you reach the max capacity, which will give you 50 and 10 slots, and it's the same for your weapons. Now, these can be increased And again, this is something that is important. I'm going to very briefly go over this. I think this is something for another video. Your module capacity can be increased by a further 20 by using an energy activator. So we can go in here and we can max capacity up and we can use an energy activator. Now these are pretty rare. You can buy them and they're pretty expensive. So I would be very careful about how you choose to use these on which characters. So if it's going to be like a main character, or you're going to use Bonnie a lot for farming, then it's definitely worth using one of these to increase the capacity, to increase the power and defense of your Descendant. There is also another way that you can increase the capacity of your modules, and that is by using a crystallization catalyst. Now, what you can do is you can select a slot, you can select one of these, and you can pop that in there, and it has a use, and I will show you what that is now. So on normal weapons, you will see that there are no symbols. Okay, so rare weapons, common weapons, you won't get any symbols. Ultimate weapons and Descendants do have these symbols, and each module will have those symbols. So this one, for instance, is module socket type malachite. This one is rutile, and they each have a corresponding symbol. So if we actually go back to the modules that we've got equipped, we will see that we have, say, reload insight. Now that is currently costing me 5. You'll see that it's highlighted green, and that's highlighted green for a reason. So we'll unequip it and we will find that module again. There it is. And the actual cost of that module is 9. So if we equip it again, it more or less halves it. I think we can level it to 10, it'll still be 5. So essentially, it will halve the cost of the module capacity if you equip it in the correct slot. So again, that is just worth noting, and it's the same for Descendants. You'll see those typed there. So again, it's, you know, these are things that I don't think are overly obvious in the game itself. It doesn't do a great job of explaining this. So what I'm going to quickly do is I'm going to show you the ultimate version of Viessa and what makes her ultimate. So there is also this handy little feature that we have called presets. So you're going to go through the game, you're going to unlock different Descendants, and what you can actually do is you can actually save all of your presets, including your modules, etc., etc., to these particular slots, and it will, it will equip for you what you had equipped to that particular character, which is, I just think is really, really fucking handy, if I'm being brutally honest. Anyway, so what makes Ultimate V so special? Well, she has obviously a lot more module slots. Well, she has more module slots and more capacity. And the Ultimate version comes with 4 symbolized module slots. Now, I've obviously put in a 5th, and I've also used an energy activator. But she actually comes with these. So that will increase your module capacity straight away. So if you, again, you match the symbols, match the modules to the symbols, you will get those module capacities halved, which is, well, it's just really, really handy. So that is everything that I can tell you really about the Descendants and what's important. So let's just have a quick wander around Albion. Now, Albion is your main hub. This is where you will spend a lot of time. There are 2 places you can come in. You can come back to that place there, or you can come back to this fast travel point here. Now, we are gonna we're gonna fast travel over here because I'm gonna show you a couple of things over here. So there are two places that have storage. So that's one storage box. There's one at the beginning. There's obviously your mail inbox. There's one here, and there's also one back at the beginning. This is where you can adjust your weapon level and adjust your weapon stats. So if you wanted to adjust the particular stats on a weapon, then you can actually do that. So for rare weapons, you'll use this material here, and for ultimate weapons, you will use this particular material. Now, what you can do later on in the game is you can adjust all of these, and if you find stats that you particularly like, so for instance, if you've got an attribute status that's triggered on a particular weapon, you like fire, attack, you can actually lock these out. But the more you lock in, the more materials it will cost you to actually make that adjustment every time. So just bear that in mind. It is and can be quite expensive, but it can be done. Weapon level transmission. If you get an ultimate weapon and you want it to bring it straight to 100, you can do that. You just pick your ultimate weapon and then you pick another weapon that you're not using, and you can put that in to instantly put that to level 100. You can also enhance your reactors in here as well, and you can level them up twice, which will give you increased skill power and sub-attack power. So again, that is something worth noting when you have actually found a reactor that you like. Through here is where you enhance your modules. Right? So you will come and see Cillian, and you can enhance your modules here. It tells you what your capacity is, and if you were to select a particular module and you were going to go over your module capacity, it actually does tell you, which is quite a nice feature. Down here is how much it will cost you in Kuiper shards. So your Kuiper shards are up here, and your gold is here. You're going to have plenty of gold. Kuiper shards, not so much. And actually enhancing certain modules can turn out to be quite expensive. I'm going to pick one. There we go. So 40,000 Kuiper shards and 400,000 gold. Like I said, gold isn't overly an issue because you've got plenty of it. But the Kuiper shards, once you start getting into the later stages of enhancing modules, they can be very, very expensive. So that's just something to bear in mind when you're making your decisions about which modules you're going to enhance. Just bear in mind that it's going to be quite expensive, and it can be an expensive mistake to make if you do cock it up. And it is the same for your weapons as well. So obviously it tells you your weapon up here and the modules that you've currently got equipped for each weapon, and you can select whatever. It tells you whether you're going to go over your capacity or not, and it tells you how much it's going to cost, and it's the same or similar cost. So that's that. If we come over here, we have an A, which is our research assistant.
I'm listening.
And this is where you will do your research. And you can research Descendants once you've got all the bits for them. And you're going to obviously need quite a bit. There's quite a bit of farming, like I said, in this game. Ultimate weapons, enhancement materials, all of this is in here, and it tells you what you need. Now, the other thing that is worth noting, which is quite a nice feature within the First Descendant, is that you can actually target farm everything. So, for instance, you get into the late game and you want a particular module. Say you're running Viessa and you want Absolute Zero, which is a great Transcendent mod for mobbing, one that I don't particularly have. If you click on it and press F, it will tell you where you can get that module so that you can target farm it, and that is an intercept battle hard Frostwalker, and you can do that with all of the modules, weapons or otherwise. There is something else that I will say, which I haven't touched on, simply because I forgot. And that is that when we look at our weapons, and I did mention that each one has its own ammo type, which is, you know, fairly obvious, I guess. You are also going to need to farm the particular module and its corresponding ammo type. So if you want action and reaction for, say, this particular gun, you are going to need to farm that module with those particular rounds. They all have a corresponding round. So again, that is just something worth noting. Just because you've got one module for one particular weapon type doesn't mean it will go with another. So yeah, just something to note and worth touching upon. So we will quickly go back to the start area. This guy here is your Descendant instructor, and I'm going to be honest, he's quite annoying, and I skipped over quite a bit of what he had to say, which was probably to my detriment, if we're going to be brutally honest. So in here is where you will upgrade your mastery rank. So every time you hit a new mastery rank, you can come in here and you can mastery rank up, and it will tell you the benefits of doing so, etc. Just obviously do it. The other thing about mastery rank, which is also really nice, is the fact that it doesn't matter what character you're using, your mastery rank will stay the same. So all the benefits that you have from your mastery rank will carry over to all of your descendants and weapons, etc. So that is also really nice. This guy here is where you will do your intercept battles. Now, obviously, you have your normal ones. For the better gear, you will need to farm the hard versions of those. You can obviously farm some of the normal ones, but they give you less of a chance of actually getting the gear that you want. And that is really the last thing that I'm actually going to touch on, is that when we come to certain materials, you're going to see that each of those particular rewards from a material has a percentage chance of dropping. This game is RNG heavy. Just be aware of that. So each and every time you use an amorphous material or you do a mission or whatever, that percentage is the same every time. You have a 2.5% chance of getting something, that remains the same. Just because you do it 25 times doesn't mean you'll get a better chance of getting that item. Every time you restart it, your chance of getting it is still going to be 2.5%. And it is the same with all of them. You could end up getting, say, Blue Beetle's synthetic fiber blueprint 6 times in a row before you actually get the Afterglow sword blueprint that you might be after in the first place. That's just RNG, that's just the way it is, that's the way that the game is designed. So, again, just something to be aware of, and that is the same with everything. It's the same with modules, it's the same with everything in the game. Obviously, the more powerful the item, the less percentage chance you have of getting it. But everything is attainable, and I haven't really, you know, other than obviously complaints about not getting things because of bad RNG or whatever, I haven't heard of anybody not getting a specific item in the game as of yet. We all know that Nexon have had a bad reputation in the past. There was a particularly coveted item in the gacha game Maple Story that they altered the drop rates for and got fined $8.5 million for doing so. And they've said that this game is kind of their last chance corral, you know, so one would hope that they're not going to make the same mistake twice. And I certainly haven't come across anything that I haven't been able to get. Yes, there are things that have been a pain in the ass. Yes, it's been fucking frustrating at times, but I have eventually got whatever it is I've been farming for. So, there it is. I hope this guide has been useful for you guys. Please do drop a like on the video if it has, or if you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe for future content. I will be doing some more First Descendant videos. And I hope to see you in the next one. Take care, guys.